And we're live. Hello, and welcome to Soiree Lifestyle Series 2020. Thank you for joining our group and growing our community. We are now a community 500 plus. Please say hello to us in the comment section and let us know that you're here. Also, please use the comment section for questions you have for our guest speaker. The purpose of our group is to share valuable information in featured weekly segments with professionals in their respective fields around lifestyles, relationships, and entertaining. I am Rosemary Skinner, a professional event and wedding planner and an event designer and the owner of Soiree Event Extraordinaire. My hosts, Crystal Cotto Sullivan, connector and coach counselor. Cynthia Cross Ballard, owner of CB Marketing and also Reiki Master. And John Sullivan, a counselor, the owner of John Sullivan Counseling. This evening, we have with us the one and only mushroom guru, Denis Vidmar, owner of the Magical Mushroom Hub. We were to have also on tonight Chef Tony of Kata Food Bar. Unfortunately, she was not feeling well and therefore unable to join us. Though we hope you are feeling better soon, Chef Tony, and will join us on another show. The Magical Mushroom Hub has a concept of mushrooms. They believe your refrigerator should be your medicine cabinet and that the path to delicious and nutritious lifestyle begins with mushrooms. With so many varieties to choose from, the mushroom should be included in every meal, and for every specific taste, there is a mushroom for that. The delicious for them is the bonus, as the nutrition is where lies the power within. For healthy mind, body, and soul, they prescribe a dose of mushrooms. Join us as we learn and explore the power of mushrooms with Denis. Welcome, Denis. We are looking forward to learning more about mushrooms.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How are you, Denis? We're just going to try to get you pinned here. I'm just going to try. There we go. Is that better, guys?
Welcome.
Okay. Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. We're very excited to hear all about your mushrooms. And Dennis is actually joining us live right from the Mushroom Hub.
Yes. So this is our new kitchen. This is where beautiful things happen. This is where multiple of quality ingredients come together and create something of life. So I'm very honored that in the 3 weeks that we've been utilizing this kitchen, a lot of goodness has come out of it and a lot of healthy choices for all of our clientele, of course. But tonight, what I'm cooking, I'm not the chef, right? We have Sarah who's taking care of all of that. I'm the guy who tastes stuff and make sure that we have the best mushrooms available for what we're doing. But tonight, I decided we had a thing happening with Chef Tony over at Coda Food Bar, which does amazing things with mushrooms. Has been doing it for weeks now. Unfortunately, with the shutdown, we're all shifting gears, and I was sad to hear that she was unfortunately unable to be with us tonight. So I said, okay, I'm just going to cook something I do at home, which is very basic, very simple. 3 ingredients, four maybe, and then actually five. Sorry, 5 ingredients. And it's simple, it's effective, it gives me what I want at the end of the day, and then it pairs really well with a glass of a nice Cabernet Sauvignon, for example. So we're gonna be cooking up with some mushrooms. So I always, when I'm cooking with mushrooms, being that I always tell people when they're cooking with mushrooms, there's two ways which you can do it. You can either utilize, well, two primary ways which people are utilizing nowadays, which is either using olive oil or a different type of oil, and then utilizing butter or margarine or whichever else. And then I personally also like to use soup stock when I cook with mushrooms in a different area that I want to take them. So there are multiple ways which you can start to cook with mushrooms. But in this particular recipe, I like using vegan butter. And so I utilize it with just yellow onions. And then this particular dish is going to include the wild chanterelle mushroom, including the kuro maitake mushroom, which is a mushroom that we have every day of the week. So I'll show you a couple of mushrooms here. So this here is the kuro maitake mushroom. Maybe I can actually, maybe this camera is better here. Yes, much better. So this here is the kuro maitake. This is grown in London, Ontario. This is a fascinating family. The reason why they opened up their farm in London, Ontario is because the mayor of London in early 2000s went to visit their village, their city out in Japan. And then they really liked Joe Fontana visiting him, and he thought that he was a really nice guy, that they decided to sell everything in Japan, move to London, Ontario, and then start growing a mushroom that they've been growing for years in Japan. And this is the Kuro maitake, which means the black maitake. We also carry the gray maitake, which is the maitake frondosa, Grifola frondosa, one of the most delicious and medicinal mushrooms in the world. And it's available to us 365 days a year. This is one of my staple things. In everything that I cook in kitchen, no matter what it is, I have a handful of this in every meal. So you'll notice with this mushroom here, when you cut her in half, look at that. So when you cut her in half, look at all that meatiness, right? So you can actually treat it. One of our brands here at the Mush Shop is Earth's Original Meat, because we believe that whenever you want to eat meat in your food, it should contain mushrooms in it. And so when you look at this mushroom here, where it has a strong meaty complexion across all the beautiful petals on the outside, right? So when you cut her in half, you get these steaks. Look at that, right? So you can take the steak, you can put them in with some olive oil, some salt, pepper. You can put it on top of your barbecue. You can just pan fry it. Whatever you decide to do with this, you're treating this component right here, the meaty part of it, like a meat. So just like you order a steak as, medium rare, well done, and so forth, you do the same with the mushroom at home. So like one of the most popular mushrooms on the market, which is the portobello, which is primarily utilized as a meat in all the vegan and vegetarian restaurants. A portobello comes in with a stem. So there's a stem inside a portobello. I wish I had a portobello. Oh, hold on one second. All right, so that's over there, the holy vault. That's where all the magic happens in fresh format. So this is a miniature, so this is actually a cremini mushroom. Slow this down a bit. So this is actually a cremini mushroom that grows into a baby portobello, or called the portobellini, which then grows into a larger portobello. So when you take the stem off, right, you just push it on the side. So a lot of people will take these gills out. I don't understand why, because one of the biggest profile essences of cooking with a portobello is actually the gills on the inside. So anyways, this middle part right here will tell you how well done that mushroom is. So if you take a toothpick right now, as she's fresh, and you plug it in, you will notice that it's hard to prick through. But the more that she cooks, the more she opens up, the more when you stick, it goes easily inside, so you know when it's a well-done mushroom, right? So one of the most popular mushrooms, this one in particular, is grown in Charing Cross, Ontario. So here, tonight, so I'm gonna cook these mushrooms slow. Usually I tell everybody who buys mushrooms from us to not overcook mushrooms. I like my mushrooms medium rare, which means I don't cook them more than 9 minutes on high heat. If I'm utilizing any components such as soup stock to cook her, then I make sure that it takes longer.
What kind of mushrooms you got in there now, Dennis?
Sorry?
What kind of mushrooms in the pan?
So in the pan right now, I have chanterelles. So a lot of people, one of the key things that I try to chat with people about is when they buy storefront mushrooms. I personally do not care where you buy your mushrooms. I just care that you buy mushrooms, period. They should be on every menu, on every ingredient, because they highlight it. And I do understand the positioning A friend of mine recently posted, a curiosity about why there's a vitamin D deficiency in North America, or the world for that matter. And in my opinion, it is because when we come to this earth, we're meant to get sun from two places, which is the sun and the mushroom. And the mushroom is the only natural vitamin D in your produce aisle. So when you walk in there and you look at all that produce, which is delicious and nutritious, which you should be buying, mushrooms are the only one that provide to you natural vitamin D. And the fascinating part of it all is that mushrooms are like us. 650 million years ago, we separated from the kingdom of fungi. And so we have a lot of relationships with the actual organism itself. Check here. So another fun fact, which I tell all of our shroomsters, which are our regulars, is when you have a mushroom in the fridge and it's a beautiful sunny day, take that mushroom out of your fridge and put it out in the sun. Because after 25 to 30 minutes, I always say do 30 minutes just to be on the safe side, because a little bit more is never a problem. The mushroom itself, different varieties will take in different capacity and density of vitamin D, which actually increases its capacity. So that you have mushrooms like shiitake, which the capacity rises so high up that in some societies is considered as a regular dose of vitamin D per day, which is nuts, right? I mean, when you're thinking about components of the old days where food is your medicine, to me, that's what mushrooms are, sort of the gateway.
So what got you involved, Dennis, with mushrooms?
Sorry?
What got you involved so strongly with mushrooms? How'd you get into it?
I have a hard time hearing you. I apologize.
Okay, how'd you get into the mushroom deal? Why is it so important to you?
Oh, well, I'm a second generation mushroom farmer. So my dad travels the world and teaches people how to grow mushrooms, companies. So when a company has an issue with growing white button Creminium portabella, they would hire my dad to come in and fix the situation. So my dad is just finished the project the first project ever in Algeria in North Africa. The first ever mushroom farm in Algeria is my dad's project. He was part of the project. And then now he's on his way. He's in Europe right now. And then he will be on his way to the largest mushroom farm in the world in China in 4 weeks. But in about 2010, when me and my dad were on the same mushroom farm, I expanded towards the exotic, wild, and medicinal. I saw an incredible, I was pulled in by the beauty and by the essence of simplicity of facts based through a complete nutritional blow. It blew my mind. It blew my mind that, I found a mushroom that all my life I was told how, if I wanted potassium, I got to eat a banana. And then I come to a farm and I find out that the mushroom has more potassium than a banana. And the only reason why I know the banana has has potassium in the first place is because the melon body, the people who sell the bananas and the melons and the watermelons, right, who are one of the key groups in the world, put this on really low, which means the chanterelle are going to be super juicy. But it tells you the power of marketing. That's why I tell people we should always be questioning, like in the age of internet where you have the capacity to truly open up your mind. I don't look at news articles and the rest of them. I go strictly to the source where it's, when a scientist publishes a authorized research article, I read that and I find the direction from an individual that took a curiosity and a path where it then highlighted what they actually present, right? So to me, it was like mushrooms they continue to blow my mind day to day. So.
Wow. Good news.
So Dennis, what do you remember as a kid? When were you first so aware of mushrooms?
Ooh, all my life. When I was 3 years old, I remember picking my first porcini mushroom, wild mushroom. My dad took us hiking. My dad is a doctorate of mushrooms. It's just the degree of his level has yet to be discovered in my opinion, on a professional basis, because we have yet to show the importance and significance of mushrooms, what they do for our everyday life. You know, you may not like to eat mushrooms, but I can for sure tell you that mushrooms are here and they have the capacity to help us on a complete different level, depth level, where it saves our planet. You know, when you're looking that there's an oil spill halfway across the world and they ask a mycologist to create, utilizing Pleurotus, the oyster mushroom, to create an environment where the mushroom, the mycelium and the mushroom, they suck up the oil from the oil spill, you know? So what is going on in that direction is that we've never put a big highlight on it. I consider this decade to be the decade of mushrooms, where I'm so happy and so pleasantly surprised every morning that I get up from academia, a website that I'm subscribed to, where you get all the newest research articles in the world. You know, every week, 1 to 2 articles on mushrooms. It's so beautiful and so authentic, and I'm happy that people are seeing the value.
Good for you.
So you were like 2 or 3 and you would be out picking mushrooms.
Yeah, my dad, we were always, in Europe, mushrooms, foraging for wild mushrooms. I'm not the only, that in this whole COVID, I'll tell you something personal. In this whole COVID experience of what's been going on, so you're getting hit from left, right, up, and down. You don't know if you're there tomorrow. As good as it may be, you're still always in a questionable format. Not just myself, every other small business person out there, and so I bring in porcini mushrooms, which ended up being like $55 a pound. And so here you are investing in this money because you're paying a forager to pick that for you, which means you prepay for it, right? American dollars. So you bring in this product, whether it's 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it may be, but you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my God, can I afford to lose if nobody buys, right? It's COVID, tons of things can happen because we see every day something new changes, right? And so here I am doubting, as an entrepreneur, every entrepreneur, and people start coming in. So I post a picture on Instagram, and people are like suddenly just blow up of save 3 pounds for me, save 2 pounds for me, save this amount, I'm coming. And then this person walks in, and she's one of our regulars. She buys from us. Another small business owner, which supports another small business owner, and so she walks through the door, but of course I don't recognize her because she's got her mask on, and she comes in and she's like, I want 4 pounds of porcinis, and then she tells me her story about how she picked them when she was growing up, with her nonna and papa.
That's like you, Crystal. You did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it relighted an enlightenment moment within myself, where then the next person came in and says, I was foraging this mushroom in Serbia, and I was foraging this mushroom in Croatia and in Bosnia and in, Poland. And then then you stand there and you think like, wow, it's such an emotional experience. It's not that some of these mushrooms have such high value prices. It's just about getting them in store so that people can have this, experience. And I looked at that and I said, oh, wow. It's like, it sort of reignited my light. My light was never over, but my light was definitely a little bit dim at that day. But having all those stories happen throughout the whole day, and we sold out 100% of what I brought in that same day, right? Wow. And it just burst me into happiness and being thankful for people, sharing those experiences. It's quite beautiful. Let me interrupt myself for a bit. So,
well, while you're doing that,
talk about your.
Yeah.
Take care of your mushroom. Yes.
So the Kuro maitake, which is grown in London, right? So what I do is I just grab it and I tear it apart, and then I throw it like that in. See? I mean, it's still like that.
Yep.
I'm doing this way slower because of all the talking, and I would forget, and then everything would get burnt. So I rather put it on forward, make sure that I can eat at the end of the show. So the kuro maitake is like one of my main meals in everything that we cook. And what I wanted to tell you. So this is the chanterelle.
Oh, nice.
So this mushroom here is a wild mushroom. And if you've eaten in a restaurant, especially actually in Windsor, there's been multiple restaurants which have been putting this on the menu for the last 3 months, even in our hardship of times. So I commend them for that. But what I always tell people is a little bit of education on mushrooms, and when you buy them in store, to know what you're looking for. So these here are fresh chanterelles.
Oh,
Okay, when you say they're wild, does that mean that you can only forage them, that you can't grow them?
That is correct. So there are certain strains of mushrooms which have yet to be tamed from the wild. Every single mushroom that is grown indoor today has been tamed from the wild. So like the Kuro maitake, which I'm cooking here, which is the black maitake, in the wild, it takes 120 days to grow. It even takes today in London, right? This mushroom was brought in from the wild. It's in the wild here locally. We forage it here locally in Windsor, Essex. It's called hen of the woods.
Yeah.
The chanterelle, however, nobody has yet been able to replicate it. But I also find that there are certain mushrooms which people are trying to replicate from the wild, like the morel, for example.
Yes.
They're, in my opinion, they're trying to replicate it, but they're also trying to get the same price point average, which is wrong, in my opinion.
Sure.
So, because the taste profile is so much different. So I've had a morel, which is wild, every April, May. That's like the go-to. There's no question about it, right? Morel mushrooms have 67% of iron per 100 grams of serving.
wow.
Just 100 grams of morels have 67% of iron, and I believe 51% of vitamin D per
Wow.
100 grams of serving. So I tried that. People are trying to do that. You can't do that because a wild morel, it's late April, May, June if we're lucky, depending on what season it is. We strictly all the wild mushrooms. By the way, you notice I didn't put salt or pepper here. That is intentional. So with the butter, I find that the butter does enough of that. There's no reason to now make it more. They're already getting a little bit of color, which is nice.
So you're using salted butter or unsalted butter?
Unsalted butter, but when you're trying a mushroom for the first time, try utilizing water or olive oil and no salt or pepper, just so you get to understand the different profiles.
Right.
5 weeks ago, we had 36 varieties of fresh mushrooms on our menu.
Whoa.
Each one of those is different in taste profiles, right? When you have a blue oyster compared to an elm oyster, you can actually see the significance of the earthiness. Although their meatiness is there, the earthiness component is shifts, right? And so how you prepare her differently, she's going to react. So I wanted to show you this, guys. So there we go. So this is there we go. So
Yep.
this is a chanterelle. So if you were to buy this at the store, a lot of people would look at this and they would say, oh, this mushroom has gone bad, hence we should throw her out, right? But she's not. Only this part here happens. So mushrooms are 85 to 95% water. So what happens with a mushroom is that at different temperatures that she's kept, she will react differently. Hence why it happens here, where the condensation was much quicker. And so even if you were to fry this up really well, you could technically eat it. However, why, right? So you would just cut that part off. 100% of this mushroom is perfect. Now, also with wild mushrooms, you get a chance to have things like this, which is like natural ferns and such. Most of the time I do actually cook with that because I find that, when you cook with orchard, here, this is a good example. You see in there? Yeah, so see how that has the ferns and such?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I cook with all of that. I think that that's completely okay. It gives us a little bit more of an extra wild. There's some vitamins and minerals in this thing that I've yet to learn about. But yeah, so this is a very simple dish that I cook at home. So when I come home, sometimes I don't have a lot of time. So this is what I do. I don't use a lot of ingredients. Sometimes if I have 3 varieties of different mushrooms, I'll just put them all together and just chop them up and saute them, usually with olive oil or a vegan butter. And then I always I do love my soy sauce. So I do add a bit of soy sauce at the end. And then there are a couple of local hot sauces. Oh my goodness, I gotta show you this one.
I love it.
So I like a few hot sauces locally. Papa D sauce, of course. Sadly, you can't find around. And each of these hot sauces takes you into a different direction, right? So Papa D sauce is something that I really like on my deep fried king trumpet mushrooms. They make it really, how do you call it, chipsy, like a chips flavor. And then there is, well, and then there's another one, which unfortunately is not available, which is by Chef, oh my goodness, David from Bread Meets Bread. Yes. So he has this hot sauce that made with local peppers from the county, and unfortunately no longer available ever since they closed down. It's not available. I always tell him, I was like, if I was you, I'd be making liters of this, how good it was. And then my third favorite local is from Atmosphere Fine Foods.
Where's that at, Dennis?
Actually, he is one of the Nav is one of the chefs over at Mamo Burger on Ottawa Street. Also, Vin and Ash, right? Great chain, phenomenal foods, right? And so he does. This is my favorite. I buy it. Little Foods. I find that out of all places in the city, if you want to find this sauce, you got to go to Little Foods, and so versatile. So many things that you can do with the sauce that it's really enjoyable when you cook it with meals.
Last week we had Tourism Windsor Essex on. That was one of the things that they highlighted, all the artisan things that you can get locally. So it's nice to know here's another product line that people can, get some of these sauces and spices and that. So that's good to know. And Dennis, that brings you to you do gift baskets too, right?
We do it all. So I mean, anything that you're looking for mushrooms today, we're right now at the airport picking up 7 varieties of wild mushrooms that are flying in from Seattle. And then today I picked up 7 varieties of exotic mushrooms. And then we have another 7 coming up. So that will give us 21 varieties of fresh, exotic, and wild mushrooms that we'll have on our menu within the next, every week. That's usually the case, between 18 and 21 for now.
Dennis, how long, so once you get the mushrooms, how long can you keep them, like before, like that you need to use them up in?
If you're buying it, if you're buying it at the store, always make sure that the mushroom is firm. So if you're buying a white button, cremini, portobello, make sure that it's firm. Grab that package and put it up and make sure that there's no water accumulating at the end of that, where the cellophane meets the plastic or the cellophane meets the see-through packaging, right? The wrap, yeah. Right? If that's the case, do not buy that mushroom. So if she's firm, you should be able to cook her leave it in that package, put it in the back of your fridge. So in my fridge, all my mushrooms are in the back of the fridge, okay. And all my pickle jars are in front of the mushrooms. So every time that I open up the refrigerator, the mushrooms never get that hit of the heat. Because being 85 to 95% water, you want to make sure that every time that you hit her, right, just like us, if I kept hitting myself with different temperatures, eventually I would have a blue scar here, or a blue, bruise, right? Mushrooms are the same way. The only thing with mushrooms is every time you hit her, the more water comes out, the more she evaporates, and then hence she becomes weak. And, if you eat her a lot of people believe that you should be eating mushrooms, that you can't eat mushrooms fresh. You should not. Mushrooms should definitely always be cooked. No matter if you're eating the white button, the cremini, the portobello, or the enoki, you should be cooking that mushrooms for a minimum 2 to 3 minutes on high heat in order for you to achieve that you break down in the chitin in the cell wall. So definitely something to. It smells so delicious. I wish I could share.
I know, we're coming over.
So funny enough, while we were planning on doing this, we were also talking about wines and pairing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, God. So being that we're so every day in the last 3 weeks we've just been experimenting different. All of our foods that are coming out are obviously loaded with mushrooms. They are both vegan and gluten free. They're available in hot, cold, and frozen. And so Sarah here, so we obviously buy wine. We just did, Nali just put together a local honey with Basil Hayden's bourbon and sliced truffle that we're selling for the holidays as well. And it turned out great. So we're utilizing also local alcoholic beverages.
Which is great. We're very much, promoters of support local. So we're really.
We, whenever we buy anything that we're buying for our kitchen, anything that we're buying for where we're going as a company, we strive that we want to make sure that the dollar that we spend primarily stays local to Windsor. Unfortunately, we are slaves of Amazon, and some things are just available there.
Yes.
Hope that in the new year, we're going to have a lot more entrepreneurs come out that are actually going to believe in entrepreneurs such as myself, which will utilize their service if they offered more items like what may be available on Amazon.
Yes.
Let's go back to
where's your shop, Dennis? Where's your shop?
Oh, the shop is at the corner of Walker Road and Niagara. It's a massive building. There's a big green patch in front of it. There are two beautiful golden chanterelles that were painted by a local artist, Julia Hall. Phenomenal, talented artist. So she did a creation. We were trying to get through with it before the winter came, and luckily we did. We had that week of that really nice weather. So the one that I wanted to show you guys, it's called Most Wanted.
Oh.
And it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It is from Coolio Estate Wines.
From where?
From Coolio Estate Wines in O'Hara. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. It's actually a mix. It's a blend between South Africa and Canada. And I find it actually, I don't know, I truthfully do not know how much this cost. However, I can tell you that I would assume that it's under $20, and I can tell you that it's a little bit more on the drier side than I'm used to, but very handleable, very nice blend. Usually with something like this at home, though, what I mentioned, I like some of the California wines, like the bourbon casket Robert Mondavi Cabernet Sauvignon, or the Coppola, or the actually no, those are kind of those two. And of course, Pinot Grigio is always Santa Margherita on the Italian side, and then Moschedri in the county, in my opinion, has the best Pinot Grigio for sure.
Another one of our wonderful local wineries. Dennis, if you're preparing a holiday meal, even though we know it won't be as large gatherings, but what would you recommend to which mushrooms or mushroom varieties would you recommend for a holiday meal, and how would you prepare it?
Mushroom should be in the ingredient in everything. Besides saying that, it just depends on where you're gonna go. You know, okay. if you're gonna have the steak, the turkey, the chicken, you want to go with a little bit of a different mushroom than the mushroom that I showed you. Like even though the kuro maitake is ideal for any dinner, if you're gonna do a steak or a seafood next to it, then I would actually say go with a gray maitake, which is more leafy. Okay. And at the same time, I would go with although oyster is very meaty as well, I would go with something like an alba clam, brown clam, something like an enoki. When you're using mushrooms like the king trumpet, the Nebardini bianco, the variety of different oysters, they have a very meaty complexion. So when you're pairing it with meat, it's like, what's the point, right? It's better than choose broccoli, carrots, and cauliflower for that matter, right? So this is a beautiful extension right here. All right, if it's better here to show, or is it better here to show?
Oh yeah, there.
Right
beautiful,
there.
Beautiful.
Wow. Right there.
Yeah, so this is called the chestnut mushroom. This is a foliota. It's grown in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh. By
Detroit Mushroom Company. Brian does a phenomenal job with the chestnuts. just such. So I like cutting these mushrooms right at the cap here. Sorry, there. So right there at the cap, I like to cut these mushrooms, and I like to fry the cap to this. And then the stem there, I like to dice up like green onion.
Okay, that's good, Joe, because one of the questions I think from our viewers was if you can eat this, cook the stem or eat the stems, I think it was.
Yes, you can eat every mushroom that we sell. That is on our menu is 100% edible. From everything that we give you, you're supposed to eat it.
Okay.
And if you're not supposed to eat it, which is a very small fraction, like when our oysters and see here, actually here, see there's the mycelium base here on the mushroom, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here, because the mushroom, when it comes out of the bag, that you're tearing a part of her growth cycle out of the bag, right? So sorry, you told me that I had a low battery. Okay, there we go.
Ooh.
So this mushroom here is one of the 3 varieties within the Foliota family that we have. So we have the chestnut, we have the velvet piopini. So if you've ever been to Italy and had a risotto, you would have had a velvet piopini and a porcini mushroom within that risotto, or either the velvet piopini with a cremini, because bella mushrooms, the cremini mushroom is actually more popular, one of the better popular mushrooms also in Italy. But so it's so chestnut, Forest Nameco, and velvet piopini are 3 mushrooms within one strain, within one family of genus that we have here at the mushroom. And each one of them have a nutty flavor, but each one has a different complexion to that nuttiness, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty fascinating mushroom. And then I got to show you the most. This is the mushroom that the whole world is raving about.
Oh, what's that called?
Lion's mane.
Oh, the lion's mane. Yes. Very
So
cool.
just a beauty, right? See, when you're looking at her from the sideways, what does it remind you of, right?
The cauliflower.
Cauliflower. Yes, I was saying cauliflower.
But it looks a little bit like a brain, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
it does look like a brain.
Yes.
So if you go online and you type in research studies, lion's mane mushrooms, Japan, you will come about a beautiful research study by a scientist out there that proved that this mushroom here on a regular regimen will actually increase neuron activity within the brain, neurogenesis, neurosynapses. It has multiple, the erinaceus, this is a Hericium erinaceus. And so the erinaceus is actually what they're studying particularly to showcase the power that it has on our memory, on our brain fog. They're studying right now on patients who are battling a different variety of brain diseases like Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, even dementias and depressions. So this is a mushroom that is an edible choice mushroom that tastes like veal. Vegans utilize this mushroom to make crab cakes. So this is a mushroom that when you prepare it in the right way will take you in a different direction. And that's what I love about, when people say, how did that mushroom taste? It's so hard to say because there's how many of us here? 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of us here. Each one of us, by me cooking this mushroom exactly the same way, each one of us is going to say a different thing. And that's beautiful, right? Because it resonates with us on a different level. So this mushroom here, a lot of the people in the city are utilizing it in, through teas, through capsules, through tinctures, and different methods of what they find on Amazon. But in my opinion about any food and all food is that if you can have it fresh, you should eat it fresh. So in about 3 weeks, we're going to be proudly called this the mushroom that is grown in Windsor, Ontario, here in Walkerville.
Oh.
So I'm very proud of this, of what this mushroom is going to do here locally. And we have some regulars which buy this mushroom a pound a week, and they claim that it did so many different things for it. I had a student come through our door to say that he's on Ritalin and wants to get out of it. And he was doing research on how he can get off of Ritalin and the other things. And this guy says, I want a lion's mane mushroom. This was at a time when I didn't even deal with lion's mane mushrooms. that after he walked through our store and talked to me about it, I was so amazed by what he said that I went out to find it. And I happily had, at that time, we found it up in Toronto, but this one particular is only, this one here is grown by Brian as well, where the chestnuts come from in Detroit. So it's grown about 25 miles from here, 25 minutes from here. But soon enough, we're going to be growing this here in Walkerville as well.
That's so interesting, Dennis.
So it's cultivated then. It can, does it grow locally?
In the wild, I've seen a Hericium. So out of the Hericium strain, there's a Rhinoceros, there's Americanum, and so forth. Americanum, I've seen some Calides as well. A little bit up northern towards Rondolet, or towards Rondeau Park. There you can find it a little more. Here in Windsor, we have so far cultivated wild turkey tail, hen of the woods, chicken of the woods, birch boletes, velvet foot, shrimp of the woods. Yeah, shrimp of the woods, chicken of the woods, and yeah.
So where are you going to grow these? You say it's going to be in Walkerville. Where are you going to grow it?
Here, right here.
Oh, right there.
Mystery warehouse.
Fantastic.
Wow.
That's awesome, Dennis.
For a long time, we've been looking for a place where I've been looking for a place where everything that I've written in regards to what I'm curious about mushrooms, it turns out that this space where we're right now will be able to tackle each of those fronts.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Dennis, we have a nice compliment for you from Lord Toffin. It says, you make mushrooms sound sexy. LOL.
They are. They truly are. A lot of people say, a question that I always, when people tell me I don't eat mushrooms, I always say, no, you don't like white button mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or you've had, a number of different Windsor, Ontario pizzerias use canned mushrooms. A lot of those canned mushrooms are not always from Canada, right? So people are trying it now, liking it. Then they have that offset right away. But then when I tell them that, we only have 39 varieties at a specific point in time, or 36 varieties, or today 12 or 18, whatever it may be on that specific day, there are every year thousands of species of mushrooms are found. The kingdom of fungi on our planet is ever growing because every single year there are thousands and thousands of new species found. And so when you're looking at the kingdom of the plant of plants and all the vegetation in life, and then you look at mushrooms where we only have we're in like 100 and just. With how are things going? By the end of this decade, will be about 200,000 species that we'll potentially find. But all the scientists around the world are claiming that there is millions to be found. Right, the largest organism on our planet is in Oregon and Washington, which is a underground mycelium body, which is the Aramilia, which is the honey mushroom. And it is spread over most of the Pacific Northwest, living underneath our planet. Right. So there are so many fascinating.
So how do you harvest that? How do they harvest that?
You can actually harvest honey mushrooms here in Windsor, Ontario. The only problem with that mushroom is that depending on who you are and what your organism is, if you drink wine with that mushroom, you could get sick. So it's a hit and miss. It's a mushroom that we always get offered by our local foragers here. We find it all the time when we go foraging, but unfortunately it's personal. So I will take it home and I'll cook it myself for me, because when I cook it, then I don't utilize any alcohol with it, because it's a specific mushroom that, it could have an effect, and I just don't want that.
So it sounds like, to me, it sounds like when we say vegetable, it would be like, I'm having vegetables for dinner, and it doesn't matter what vegetable I'm having. We don't distinguish. So it's the same, but we do. We have carrots, we have potatoes, we have all kinds of vegetables. It's the same with mushrooms. We think of a mushroom as one thing, when in fact, there are so many different kinds of mushrooms, but we just call everything a mushroom.
Huge.
Wow.
And everybody thinks that the white button mushroom. I was speaking to the chef of Nooch. You guys know Nooch, the vegan fast food bar over on Cabana and Howard, right? Great supporters, of course, of small business as well. Great people as well. Allison was here, one of their main chefs there, and she was saying, she was talking about food. I forget now, but she was saying, she's not saying no to it. What she's saying is that at that point in time, she's still looking for the right one that is going to fit her taste profile. And that is exactly how it is with mushrooms. And that was this morning right there. So I always, that's the beautiful part of about the exchanges that we have here at the Hub with other local entrepreneurs and food enthusiasts in general, who are always striving to do something different in the kitchen that is going to highlight, you know, the next thing. And her saying that, I was like, that's exactly what mushrooms are. That is what I should be telling mushrooms. Hence, you guys are the first people that I'm sharing that with. So yes, you haven't tried the right mushroom to specify that you do not like mushrooms.
Right, exactly. That makes so much sense. So much sense. So I just want to share while you're cooking. You probably know this story already, Dennis, but I think it was in 2016 when you had the Mushroom Hub on Erie Street. Okay, how does it taste? So we had a mushroom fest.
Yes.
Oh,
so we had, I think there were 10 or 12 of us, and everyone brought a different dish to the dinner. So I have the menu here. So we started out, we used Nebradini Bianco, and we made a mushroom terrine.
Ooh.
And then we had shiitake and creminis, and we made cream of mushroom soup.
Ooh.
Then we did a black oyster risotto.
Wow.
And then we garnished it with alba clamshell, velvet piopini, forest nameko.
Yes.
And then we had gnocchi with a shiitake mushroom.
Wow.
And then we stuffed a pork with king oyster, portobello, and button mushrooms.
My mouth is watering.
And then we did a wild mushroom salad. And then at the end, someone caramelized hen of the woods, and we had it on ice cream.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Look, I just have goosebumps thinking about it.
I would like to repeat this event, please.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We haven't been invited.
You know what?
It's COVID, Dennis, COVID.
In the cooler here, so
Okay, let's do it.
repeating that event, because especially the caramelized hen of the woods, I would love to see that.
Oh, it was amazing. And it was great because most of us at that point knew maybe 3 or 4 mushrooms, you know, the portobello, the cremini, king oyster, and maybe a gnocchi. And that was it. Oh, and morels, but you know, those are, and so we had like, I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different mushrooms.
Wow.
It was amazing. Okay, team, we need to do this.
Yes, let's
Okay.
do this. Okay.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
I'm telling you, that is super cool. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll do the dessert. I'll get the ice cream. What do I have to put on?
And you know what's cool about it is, we talked about this last week with Windsor Tourism, is that people right now are looking for different things to do. They're looking for experiences.
Yeah.
Well, there is a great experience. Invite your bubble and have everyone do a different mushroom dish or 2. And then, you know, 2 or 3 hours, and you're just sampling and you're tasting and you're testing, and match it with the wines. And there's a great mushroom experience.
I agree.
That is
So Dennis, my thing about mushrooms is they're all edible, but some only once.
That is true, sir. Yes, and people always tell me, why would you say that? I said, because it's an old Chinese proverb. It's true. You know, there are mushrooms. We have mushrooms locally here. I mean, I was a lot of the people that know me in the city that listen to CBC and CTV, and then I was on both talking about, you know, the not edible choice mushrooms here in Windsor, which are the poisonous mushrooms here, right? So you have you have a lot of the foragers. This year alone in Canada, our phone line for people who called in sick from trying wild mushrooms and didn't know what they were getting into ended up in the hospital. Like, it doubled in the same amount of time frame as last year. And why that happened is because people were sitting at home. Everybody was, you know, and it's also the boom. Like here locally here in Windsor, we have 2 mushrooms, actually 3 mushrooms, which are identical, and one of them is deadly. So you have the velvet foot, which is super delicious. You have the inokitaki, which is like a brown enoki mushroom, which you can find like in Asian market and such, of course, here as well. And then you have the Galerina marginata, which, you know, is going to kill you. So a lot of people that are going into the wild now and saying, oh, I can forage. yes, we can all forage. However, I bring books. The store over there, all my books. I would bring, 2, 3 different books, and I myself have eaten a mushroom. Luckily, it wasn't a deadly one, but it was the one that made me go to the bathroom for a hell of a long time. It cleaned me out, but at the same time, it was not a pleasant experience. But it was an experience which made me now go from verify to verify. Right. So I encourage everybody who's into the whole wild mushroom sphere. Yes, it's a beautiful hobby. It's a beautiful, environment to go back into and connect with nature. But at the same time, make sure you're going with somebody, that knows. That's the one thing about COVID is we were supposed to have a mycology society here in Windsor, Essex. We should have already had this year forays and things like that. But unfortunately, we all got interrupted. So everything that we were planning for this year will now happen in 2021, of course. Unless it's 2022, we'll see. But
we're gonna stay positive. Dennis, so just so people can, I just want people to know that they can actually just come over to the Mushroom Hub. They can buy directly from you, and they're gonna know what they're buying, so they don't have to worry that it's poisonous. You create gift baskets that people can give as a gift. So if you have foodies on your Christmas list, what a great idea. And then you also, and you have prepared foods that people can also pick up to take home to eat.
Yes, so we're actually going to be doing a small little Christmas menu for a vegan and gluten-free crowd. But I encourage anybody who's a heavy meat eater to try our foods, and pretty much 9 out of 10 times you're going to say there's meat in this. Of course, Earth's original meat, mushrooms. So besides that, we also work with local chefs here. So we got, delicious wild mushroom pierogies by Lilfa Foods. We are working with Chlorophyll Catering with lasagna and chili. We're working with plant-based with stroganoff. And then we got on all these pies as well. And then we're always working with some new chefs. Throughout this whole COVID time, we've worked with others as well. But right now in our fridge, that's what you can find tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Great.
And then,
so Dennis, you also mentioned that you're doing something special for Christmas in terms of sharing food.
Yes. So so every year we have a tendency. I always have a tendency to call on the food bank and see how they're doing. And this year I found out that with COVID and everything happening, and CERB and no CERB and all this mumbo jumbo, and a lot of companies shutting down, especially people in the industry as well. I found out from the local food bank that they feed 900 families a week. Each one of those families is only allowed to come once a month, which means that they're technically feeding 3,600 people. And at the same time, they're shutting down mid-December and reopening in January. So being that we love soup, we are going to share soup on September 25th. Last year, I did it with a local lawyer downtown. This year, with COVID and so forth, we're inviting every small business. We're inviting anybody that is able to donate and help. We're donating mushrooms, we're donating time, and we're going to do a minimum of 300 liters of soup that day. So if anybody that is hungry, anybody, if you've left your job and you just want a warm meal, come on down. We're working with other shops. Black's Bakery today told me that on Christmas Eve they're going to donate 100% of the bread that's in their store towards people getting it the next day. And I'm sure that Lilfa Foods already offered pierogies. So everybody has come in. All the local businesses that we work with, and other people in the community. We had a local politician, is what I'm going to say, who came here and said, "Here's a cash donation, and please have it go that way." So what we're looking for people to donate is warm socks, warm clothes, hats, scarves, the little things. Don't bring a mattress, please. But the little things, also toys, of course, for kids, always welcome. And then if you're a business that has food that we're not going to serve, you can help us by buying the packaging for those soup. So because of COVID, we can't do the traditional, here's your soup, sit down, do your event. Yeah. We're pre-packaging everything to give We're going to set up tables in front of the building, and we're going to have a lineup all the way down to from Walker and Niagara down to Riverside, and however long it may be. And our goal is to start serving at noon and go as much as we can with what we're going to collect. So all the 100% of the funds that are going to come in are going to be towards ingredients, and any soup that we have left over from making that day will be donated to all the local food shelters between here. Hell, if we have to drive it to London, we will. So.
And do you need people to help out as well on the 25th?
You know what? That's the thing. I posted this. I had, I have these sometimes these outbursts where this rage within me happens from whatever reason. And so I sat down and I said, I can't believe that in a city where we have so many farmers out there. Nature Fresh is doing great with the downtown mission, right? They formulated a program with them, and so that is a beautiful thing. And so when we have such a vast amount of production happening in Windsor, Essex, let's utilize that fresh food to give to our locals instead of the canned food that comes in from China.
Yeah.
No disrespect to any food, far from it, but we all deserve some fresh ingredients here and there, and what a better way to do it than during holidays, right? So nobody here has a lot, but we're all trying to do what we can to come together and have a big package.
So as a result of your rant, did you get a lot of volunteers?
Oh my goodness. I woke up this morning and I looked at my messages, so I already have 3 helpers in the kitchen. I already have, businesses offering food from Kingsville to here locally in Windsor. Just a beautiful outcry. Just it makes you be thankful for the community and those that there are many silent people in our community, but when the time comes, they shout. And I love it.
Yeah. You're right.
Awesome.
You're right.
We're not doing anything but being in a core area where we have the facilities now to be able to do a large scale that we can help and put some nutrition in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Dennis. What a great initiative. And you know what, we're very fortunate to be in a very giving community, that our community really pulls together to help people. So this is wonderful. And what a great point is to give them fresh for people that cannot afford to buy groceries or haven't had a fresh meal, like to actually have fresh product versus canned meals and stuff. That's awesome. Dennis, we really enjoyed, we're coming up to the hour. We really enjoyed you being on with us. This was so informative. We've learned a lot, and we've enjoyed having you on. I always find you very fascinating. Could talk to you for hours and never be bored. And Crystal, we are going to do that dinner, right, with Dennis?
Yes, absolutely. And you're invited, Dennis.
So
Here, I'd love to do a social distance dinner for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would love to experience those 13 mushrooms in the exact same format.
That was awesome.
Sounds wonderful.
So I'm not sure if we have any more comments from our viewers, but I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. And if you're catching us on replay, please thank you for joining us. And anybody who's watching, please like and share it. Great information. This is a local guru of mushrooms. Like this is pretty high end here. Little Windsor, but we got a lot of good things going on in our city.
We got some truffles to show you, but unfortunately, they can't. Shipping, of course, during COVID has been up and down, and so unfortunately, but the essence of truffle on something like that would definitely have been. Well, actually, I'm only the only one enjoying it, so it's better when we're together. We'll do that.
That's right. We'll do it then.
On top in a truffle format.
So everybody, please go and check out, go to shop with Dennis there. I know you're gonna have a great experience going in there. It's fresh product, exotic product, it's healthy product. So he's at Walker. Dennis, I know you're just down the road from my place. What's the address? I know I just could go down the alley and I'm at your place.
We're right across from Chapter 2 Brewery. So if you're walking out of Chapter 2 Brewery, turn left on Edna, go on Walker Road, turn left, and you'll see on the left hand side see the 2 beautiful golden chanterelles.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
Nice job.
Yeah.
It was really nicely done. So, and then Dennis, how long will you be open? I know we're going to holiday. I mean, less obviously we get into shutdown mode again, but
We are doing curbside and delivery already.
Perfect.
So we love people coming through because it gives us a chance to actually chat about mushrooms. Everybody that you're going to meet at the store is very knowledgeable. They're all actually our regulars too, and Ali is somebody that I've worked with years ago that joined the team back again 3 weeks ago, which I'm very super proud of and
nice.
happy with. And so the experience is beautiful until we go into shutdown, which then the experience will be via telephone, text message, and email.
Okay.
So,
And,
we're delivering and doing curbside.
okay, and Cynthia's posted all the links for Dennis, so you can get in touch with him. So I just want to mention next week, I'm just going to ask Crystal to talk about quickly next week's, our guest speaker for next week.
Okay, so next week, we're actually going live on Wednesday.
Yes.
And Rosemary Heenan is going to do laughter yoga with us. We thought that because Christmas is coming up, it's a different kind of a Christmas. We'll be celebrating differently. And some of us have higher anxiety. We're a little bit anxious about it. We thought, okay, let's just really chill for our show on episode 34. So Rosemary will be leading us through an exercise of laughter yoga, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes, we're looking forward to having her. So please do tune back in. Dennis, thank you so much again. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you to my hosts and that. And we'll see you back next week. Check out Dennis for some really good mushrooms.
Guys, thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too. Enjoy your mushrooms.
Yeah, enjoy that. It looks good.
I want to run over. See you later. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Guys, bye-bye.